Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ecommert Podcast. Today, we're in lovely Dusseldorf with Jessica Wegner at Douglas headquarters, who is leading the global retail media for the Douglas retail chain. Welcome to the show, Jessica.
Thank you very much for being here. Happy to have you in Dusseldorf.
It's losing the
Exactly.
campaign success of the company. Which brings me, I still got stuck with one of the stats you shared earlier, 57 million shoppers out of 1,870 stores. Which brings me, some of the other news you just whispered to me earlier. In-store retail media is a very hot topic in the United States, last 18 months or so. Andrew has been talking a lot about this, and we realize this reality. And sometimes it's challenging for brands to justify the growth of in-store media and how are they going to convert existing digital spends toward the new up-and-coming futures in the retailers. What is the current landscape in Europe? Where do you see in-store retail media? What's your observation around this?
So there is a lot of discussion and a lot of traction. Right now in Europe, I would say that it's a lot driven still by the grocery. So if you think about Albert Heijn in the Netherlands,
Right.
which belongs to Ahold Delhaize.
Happy? Yep.
Yeah, which are quite successful with that. Then we have Rewe,
Right.
grocery chain as well, who also launch more and more screens in store. And then we see a lot of test and learn, let's say, from the other retailers. We at Douglas also have a pilot planned for Germany next year to really go into the store. It's funny because I had the discussion in Cannes with Andrew about America versus Europe. In a way, I think the thinking in Europe is not that it's a completely new category, because I think many of the European retailers were already thinking in store, or even started with in store. And for some of them, if you think about let's say the product mix in the retail media portfolio, in store is the number one value driver,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Because it depends completely, from my point of view, on where is your sell-out split between bricks and mortar and e-com, and where is your traffic split between bricks and mortar and e-com. And in those verticals where you have still a high bricks and mortar share, and they're naturally also high traffic, and I mean this big supermarkets, I mean they have lots of space and lots of traffic every day and a lot of footfall, and that's mainly the KPI where the business then comes from, multiplied with the CPM, etc. So therefore, especially for grocery, I think it's very obvious already that it's the number one key solution. For us, I think it's extremely interesting from first of all, omni-channel perspective, because we do want and we do need a tool that we have in store to really also measure what does media bring to the sellout in the store. So for the first time, whole pull measurement would be really possible at scale. That's really interesting. And I also do believe that for brands, in-store screens is really a great and amazing opportunity to do brand storytelling, right? And beauty is, as we said, it's experiential. Yeah, you need to really test it. It's a very innovation-driven category where you have launches all over the place. So the portfolio and how it rotates is pretty impressive around those beauty brands. Therefore, the curation aspect of media in general, I would say, in beauty is much higher than in other categories like groceries, where you don't need so much advice or inspirational curation on a toothpaste, right? I would say.
I mean, personal care, beauty is one of those categories you can offer many senses to the consumer, and it's very experiential experience. I mean, you can use your smell, you can use your sight, you can use your touch, and the result is immediately in your screen. 5 minutes, you see it and you feel it. It's a perfect experience, outdoor reality. And obviously, this brings back to the day, at least takes me back to the day of the retail media born, which you mentioned some challenges, opportunities in the beginning of our conversation. I want to bring our audience back to Retail Media 101. So what, from our lens, when we worked at CPG and also working in technology companies, the three main advantages or opportunities of retail media were closed loop attribution, then first-party audience data, and transparent and effective measurement reporting capabilities. And I hear great things about Douglas reporting interface in terms of measurement and reporting back to the brands. So can you share a little bit of information? What kind of measurement interface do you provide to the brands today? What kind of KPIs you're offering in terms of reporting? And maybe a couple of KPIs that you're already sharing with the retailers, because they're all buzz around certain KPIs, whether the traditional ones, whether the up and coming ones. Where do we see Douglas reporting interface today, and what brands will see when they manage their campaigns?
So we do have, let's say, for on-site advertising, for sponsored product ads and audience ads, we have full transparency from the click-through rates to the ROAS down to the conversion value. We also report we do have a standard A/B test, which will test the exposed with the non-exposed users when it comes to display, in order to measure the conversion rate uplift on the display format. So you could expect, if you book with us, you could expect no matter whether it's offsite on Facebook, on Google, and or onsite, you could expect full transparency on everything that we do and on all solutions. So our reportings should naturally be as good or as detailed as any other publisher's reporting that you get from Pinterest or from Google, right? So this is definitely what we expect from ourselves. And that is highly welcomed by the brands,
Of course.
because if you reflect a little bit back in history, so when I started in my 20s at L'Oreal, and we were sitting at the Douglas desk and we're asking how did certain things go, there was usually still this zero data sharing policy, and people were not so open to talk about KPIs. So it's a transformation that I think retail media brings into the company. Yeah, to redefine also the so-called supplier and retail relationship. And so the other point that you referred to, I'm pretty sure you wanted to know whether we have IROAS already, yeah? Because I think
Yes.
we have a standard set of metrics that, yes, we do have, and our clients do have access to it in real time when it comes to sponsored product ads, and we work on it for audience ads, so meaning they can log in Tableau and they get real-time access to their data. So that's a massive step up, and obviously that's for us the future, yeah? We want to, in the future, have a dashboard no matter whether they book on-site or off-site, where they can get access anytime. And it's already the case for sponsored product ads. When it comes to IROAS, I think the frustrating news here is, and it's something that we share across retail media networks or across the industry, that there is no out-of-the-box or off-the-shelf solution yet. So it's something that we discuss quite a lot within or between retail media networks and also with ATAG. And so far, we decided for us that we want to really get things started, because the industry doesn't seem to deliver a solution that we can just
So
buy.
theories in the cloud.
Yeah, exactly. It's all theories in the cloud. Therefore, we said, let's get things started. So we will start now with our own experiments on incrementality in order to build our own learning journey on this, and at some point in time have metrics or methodologies and modelings in place that we then obviously want to have as a standard metric next to the regular ROAS in the future for all reportings. For now, it's really experiments, but I think it's the first step. And we're too impatient. We don't want to wait anymore for anyone.
Will you share any case studies or public results about this?
Yeah, we would.
Okay, that will be something really impactful, because to your point, there is all these hypotheses and theories around incrementality of the retail media, IROAS, and several other new nicknames for different KPIs, but it's really hard to tackle.
Yeah.
And it's really challenging to bring it to the reality, timeframes, the data availability, retailers, strategy, and business model. It's all hard to bring them together. But since you're already trailblazing and a massive footprint in the European market, I'm sure hopefully more CPGs will share some of their IROS case studies in coming days. So we covered the data, we covered the transparency and partnerships, we covered the measurement. Now I want to bring conversation towards a little bit more humane, a little bit more environmental friendly and consumer topics, which is about sustainability. Because I keep hearing this also becoming an important discussion point in the conversations. How Douglas is approaching to the sustainable retail media practices? What are you guys implementing today, and what are the plans for the future?
So first of all, what we do is that we have a look at our existing solutions. So
Wow.
we do have on-site, we do have off-site media, but we also have 2 product testing solutions where we really send out either a finished product or a sample size. So those are the first one for us, where we want to do the homework on our own to really see how can we reduce waste and have the best and most sustainable packaging, and also shipping methods. So that's for us one of the main priorities, obviously. The second one is that I see a lot of potential when you think about digital screens. And if you think about it really at scale, then I think it's a massive opportunity for retailers in the combination with the CPGs to really make a huge step up when it comes to less waste and less paper production. Because right now, I mean, as you can imagine, we have every 2 weeks, we get in the new windows, and the windows right now are still paper-based, right?
Very fast turnover.
Yeah, very fast turnover. So it's a lot of carton that goes in and goes out of the shop. So if we step by step move into a future where the stores are more digitized, then I think this would be a massive step up when it comes to sustainability in store. And the third one is that we really think about how can we build, let's say, efficient supply chains in the offsite world, in offsite media, when it comes to audience extension, and how can we reduce carbon footprint there as well. And I think that's a big challenge, but there are corporations that we are in touch with who are quite advanced when it comes to that. And we think about having a partnership with them to really see how can we first measure. I think the measuring what do we have right now in terms of footprint is important in order then to build towards a more sustainable model for the future.
That brings me to a personal memory. Before we dive into the next topic, I want to ask one personal question. In one of the conferences we had at MIT in Cambridge, Massachusetts, 2 years ago, I believe, we talked about the future of retail experience. And in my preparation, I made some research. I look at the upcoming technology, and I envision the future of retail experience like this. I said, when you get into a store as a consumer, 15% of the store will be product displays for a consumer experience with large display screens. But the technology will detect you as a consumer, and they will bring data from their CDP, and they will show you the products from your past purchase history, from your behavioral choices, and all the other audience affinities. And 35% will be the fulfillment, delivering your product to your doorstep. 50% will be experimental. In an environment like Europe, with GDPR, with privacy, and all the other regulations, do you see this vision come into reality in the near future? Do you see people will see ads on digital displays personalized for them in real time, or is it just utopic approach?
I don't.
Do you have any conversations happening around these, maybe even the 4, 5, 10 years?
Well, I think on a long-term vision, it's something that is doable to a certain extent, but especially in Europe and especially in Germany with our core market, I think it's going to be pretty hard to build it. So I think it depends also on how the consumer is looking at privacy regulation, right, and how you deal with it. So I guess it would need a certain change of mind from consumer's perspective to say, oh, I give out my data. Yes, but you get value out of it. So the more we as a retailer can show how much the personalization brings in value to you as a consumer, the more willingness I think we will get in order to share data.
Exactly.
So I guess, therefore, for me, it's a transformation that we need to push. What is the technology? Where is the technology evolving, and what can we use? And how much can we explain how technology actually benefits the user? And there are some experiments as well that I heard from other retailers who basically made experiments on-site, in this case, on-site display, of just blocking out a banner, a big X in it, and a blank space, where as a customer, you would think it's a mistake. What is this? And then with a big box in it saying, yeah, well, you blocked cookies because you said you don't want to have personalized messages.
Right.
And I think that's a very good example where at first you're like, this is weird as a customer. And then you realize, if I click, no, I don't accept anything.
I don't get anything from my own
consequence,
experience.
right? Or if you go into our app, then you don't get for example, the repurchase module that we have in there that would remind me of, hey, your skincare should be over by now, because we know exactly on the date
Right.
how long are the cycles. So the system would remind me of rebuying my mascara, and it's really annoying if you're out of mascara. Yeah,
I can only imagine. Yes.
it's a good service. So, and I think pulling that understanding on consumer sides, what are the benefits, and that it's not only dangerous to give out data, but that it can be really,
It's a
really
delicate
great,
balance.
yeah? Or if you go in store, for example, we have this technology called Beauty Mirror, where it maps your face, and then it projects on your face different looks, for example, right?
I love that.
Yeah, so it's really cool, so that you can really test based on your profile.
Can I test it on my hair?
It's really for the face
For
for now. Yeah.
okay.
It also has a skin type analysis in there, which is also cool. So it would analyze whether you have dry skin and what kind of skin type you are, etc. So there are lots of features in our app, and some of them available in store as well in the Beauty Mirror. And yeah, so the more we reduce fear, I think, and the more we raise the fun part and the value part in this discussion, the more we can move from utopia to reality.
Exactly.
In your vision that you
Exactly.
just described, that's the answer.
Exactly. Thank you very much bringing me to the reality, because I was also very sensitive about sharing my data. But
Yeah.
like I said, 3-4 years ago, when I started using skincare products, I shared my data with L'Oreal, and I tried one of those AR skin analysis,
see?
and I got the moisturizer recommendation that I choose from Biotherm, and I'm still using it for 4
I
years.
worked on Biotherm for 8 years.
Now I'm using Biotherm Home Line for moisturizing, good customer lifetime value. Great. Back to the reality.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing us to ground from 30,000 view. And walk us through about some of the innovations you are building, which is in the market, which is available to the consumer that we can enjoy.
Yeah. So, in terms of solutions that from our portfolio, we do have 2 or 3 big news. I would say the first one, I commented already on it. It's the self-service booking platform in soft launch phase right now, and going to all markets, to all clients next year. Then, and for us, it's a huge step, because if you look at the size or the quantity of the brands that we have on all Douglas e-com platforms, it's thousands actually. Whereas my team handles with a couple of hundreds. So up until now, we were fully in managed service mode, where all the campaigns were rebriefed by us on behalf of the client. So having now access in real time, and even smaller brands, they can start with €500, right?
Amazing.
So the barrier is really low, and this is exactly what we wanted to. And that they can really test and learn that each and every brand who gets listed either via our selective partner program or directly has the opportunity to book, let's say, marketing activities, or in this case, retail media activations, in order to have a chance to boost the brand. So I think this is also from an e-commerce flywheel perspective extremely important, actually, because otherwise you end up with many brands who might at some point get disappointed because they think you're on Douglas and then you sold. Well, I mean, there is also an ad clutter and the competition clutter that you need to break through, right? I mean,
Right. Nothing
all
was
the big
guaranteed.
brands and the organic ranking will show first the big brands because they are known. So self-service for us is a big future project, because we start on site, but we want to integrate more and more solutions in there. And then the second one for us is video. So we're really excited, and we do a lot of very exciting and promising tests on video. And especially in beauty, as we said, is sensorial. Beauty is about making people dream, right?
Right.
And how can you do that better than with a video asset, yeah? Which really tells the story. And this will be on site in all categories. So it's a split teaser where you have video on the left-hand side, and then you have the specific products on the right-hand side. So I personally, when I saw it in the test, I was freaking out, because I was really freaking out, because it's beautiful. It has so much stand out on site. It's really cool, and I think it adds a lot of value moving from the still life visual to a video
Vivid,
format.
dynamic live, yeah.
It's amazing, especially with beautiful brand content that we get. I mean, it's something I just want to show. And so that's something that as soon as the last tests are done, and that we will release to the markets. And then last but not least, for us, the whole data collaboration, so I would say offsite 2.0, if you want to frame it like that, is very important. So we will make different steps. And the first step that we made is we looked into the IAB, we talked to our IAB data and IAB service and talked to our clients and agencies. And the first thing that I always said is, well, this first party data is kind of great, but I want to get my hands on it myself. I don't want to just give you a call and you tell me that audience XYZ sits in the CDP and you push it to Facebook or Pinterest or whatever. I want to access it myself and choose myself which audience I want for a specific case. And I also want to choose where, on which inventory I push it, whether it's CTV, digital, out of home, mobile, audio, etc. And that's why we closed a partnership with the Trade Desk. And so our Douglas beauty audience will soon be available there, so that then the brands have, in a way, it's one of the biggest DSP, right? Have access to our data and can then activate wherever they want and from all the upper to lower funnel.
I'm sure they're counting the days to get their hands on this Douglas data on Trade Desk DSP.
Really excited about it. And that's the first step, and many more would follow. And strategically speaking, obviously, then for us, it's also, we conceptually think about how can we do this from a more independent data business standpoint. So that's
that's interesting.
Yeah. So that's let's say the future scenario. But for now, we test and learn into this.
First quarter will be very busy and exciting, I figure, with all these upcoming innovations. Offsite Media 2.0.
I mean, we've worked a lot in the last years, and now the seeds that we are planting, a lot of them grow into little plants.
Right.
We bring them to the market. So it's really exciting times.
So all these digital capabilities you're building and all these new features you're introducing to the market, to the brands, eventually will come as a growth. You mentioned that you currently operate in 9 markets, right? What are the growth plans, and how are you going to bring new differentiating factors with all these features when they're available, when they're in full use? What's the growth plans? Are there going to be new markets on the portfolio? And I'm sure it's going to help you to differentiate Douglas even further.
Yeah, so the way we look at it, so we have different dimensions when we think about expansion that I have a look at. First of all, I need to have a look, how big is Douglas in the specific markets? Am I number 1, am I number 2 or 3? Most markets we are number 1, which is good, but not in all of them. We fight for number 1, obviously, everywhere. And secondly, I need to have a look, how big is the e-commerce share? Because it's always easier to launch retail media and to bring it to good growth quickly when the e-commerce share is already high, right? Sure. So in the southern eastern markets, usually the bricks and mortar share is still higher. Yes, consumers still likes to shop offline. So
they like their answers probably.
Exactly. The good thing is, if you look at the IAB CAGR for 3 years, you can see it, right? Italy and Spain, they're really high, and they rank higher than Germany, for example, because Germany is already there. And so the e-com share, the Douglas market share, and then the third one, I always have a look at the retail media market, pure market size, which is also, it falls down very quickly. I mean, you have UK, and then in continental Europe, you have Germany, and then you have France, etc. pp. So we are, and then these 9 markets that we do have are for us the biggest Douglas markets, with the most interesting e-com bricks and mortar split, and they are the biggest IAB retail media markets. Therefore, for now, we want to really focus on those markets and really expand there, because there's still a lot of growth, as I said, in terms of acquiring new clients and also developing the big accounts further, right? Because for me, getting a sponsored product ad booked, it shouldn't stop there, right? That's just the beginning.
It's the lowest hanging fruit.
It's the lowest hanging fruit, but then really scaling it, learning it, and growing into the other channels. So expansion is not necessarily going for us via expansion into completely new markets. It's more the expansion within the markets, with the new clients, working closer with agencies, also pushing in our new marketing solutions, because the full portfolio that I described before is in Germany, but not in all markets. So there's also
there will be new features for many existing markets. Yeah.
So rolling out that portfolio. And how do we differentiate? Because that was also part of your question. For me, I think our go-to-market strategy is differentiating, because we decided that we have a central team in the headquarters in Dusseldorf, but we also have regional sales offices, which are localized.
Okay.
So they are really persons who are the ambassador in the market, who are developing the business in the market.
They have the local know-how.
They have local know-how, they are locals,
Connections,
they
yeah.
speak local language, they know the local brands, because beauty brands usually are, they still have, Dior would have a marketing director in Poland as well as in the Netherlands, as well as in France. And we want to get in touch with all of them, and obviously also with the European level, on top of that. And so, but hearing really to their needs might be different from brand, even if it's the same brand in different markets, they have different, let's say, challenges, and therefore this very customized approach, and the idea to have very good service level really by market is something that I think is a differentiating factor.
It is. It really is. And human connection, human experience of cosmetics is non-replicable in many other categories. So this is smart. And I like the idea that our marketing strategy is one of the biggest differentiator, and it plays into the benefit of the consumer in their local market. I learned a lot today, which brings us towards the end of our conversation. But what I learned the most, and what I remember from the last 35, 40 minutes, we both worked at L'Oreal, so kudos to the L'Oreal brands teams. And I didn't know you worked at Biotherm. And I also got really impressed with the stats you shared with us today. 57 million shoppers between 1,870 stores and 900 audiences. Those are really tough to match. And cosmetics brands, I'm sure they're really devouring those information in terms of their campaigns. And I'm looking forward to Offsite Media 2.0 and some self-first platform in the first quarter next year. And I want you to share your closing remarks with us, with our audience today, about the future of retail media. Where do you see the industry is going, and where do you see the relationships, partnerships with the brands are going? Please help us wrap this up, please.
Yeah, where is it going? So for me, in terms of positioning retail media, I think it's crystal clear.
Right.
It's going from transactional into, it moves up the funnel. So it has the power to really disrupt the way media was done for decades, because of the ability to infuse first-party data also in upper funnel media channels such as CTV and digital out of home. So I think this is going to be extremely exciting for the industry, and it's going to be a really game changer. When it comes to the stores, I think that's the second component. So really testing and learning with omnichannel, and not only having a real instrument or tool in store, but also the whole research, online purchase, offline, all the ROPO measurement. I think it's going to be a very strategic thing that we need to really hack and tackle as an industry, because this is in the end one of the biggest advantages in retail media, to have this full funnel, a multi-channel perspective on things on the media mix. And when it comes to the relationship, for me, retail media has a big role to play there, because if we think back on the traditional relationship, the supplier and retailer relationship, as the name says, brands produce products and they supplied it to retailer, and the retailer sold it. I think this is completely changing, and retail media sits in a position where we have a more agency identity, where we call the brands clients. We would travel to them, to the headquarters, to have the discussions. So we position ourselves as a competitor to whatever. They can give their money to Google or to Facebook. They're completely free to spend with us. They don't need to. Therefore, I think this approach is very different from the past, even if I would say as a whole, Douglas as a group is really redefining this relationship towards a partnership relationship in each and every dimension, which is based on a lot of collaboration, a lot of trust, and also a sharing on JBPs, etc. But I guess that retail media has a big part of that as an internal, let's say, machine to drive that rethinking in a way.
I love this remark you just said. Retailers are turning into publishers, and suppliers, brands are turning into customers of the retailers. This relationship will open many doors, many opportunities, hopefully in the benefit of consumer, because I always include consumers also in the retail media equation.
Yeah, true.
And to your earlier point, not only in store, also digital personalization, enhancement of the first-party data. As a consumer, we benefit from retail media capabilities. We get more relevant products. We spend our money smartly sometimes very much more, but sometimes smartly on right products at the right moment. Jessica, it was a real pleasure talking to you. Thanks for all the updates, all the news, all the exciting innovations, and your opinion you shared with us. I learned a few good things for my own part. It was a great conversation. It's great to be here at Douglas headquarters in Dusseldorf. Thanks for tuning in into Ecommert Podcast today. We had Jessica Wegner with us, who is leading global retail media for Douglas retail chain. And we're looking forward to all these new updates, new releases with the existing partnerships. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for tuning in. Stay ahead of the curve. Bye now.